but I'm at under 1.6. That's such a bummer. I really wanted to be right in the simulation, and I'm not quite there yet, right? We still have a gap of 9% in net revenue. So as I'm sitting there with the CFO and going back and forth and talking about different things, in my gut I'm thinking, I know that we're budgeting for 12 months. Okay, that's what we do. We budget for 12 months. But I just wondered out loud, isn't this better in the long run, that brand building? Won't they be more loyal with us up front as they come through the door? Won't that pay off down the road? So I had to take a look at our information and kind of work up this long-term customer migration model. So this is where we get really data heavy, so bear with me. I'll try to make it a little painless as possible. So first I looked at retention. So historically, going back to 2015, looking at those individual new cohorts, new customer cohorts that came in each year. So over time, what did they spend that first time? When they came back and spent with us the following year, what did that look like? So first, we look at retention. This was really eye-opening for me. So over time, the data shows us, on average, only 9% of that new customer cohort that comes in through the door, only 9% of them come back the following year and spend. And when I mean come back, it could be in the tasting room, it could be in the club, it could be e-commerce. I was looking at this as kind of a holistic model. So that kind of hurt me right here. We're losing 91% of the people that walk through the door. But then you see it stabilizes after a while. So once they come back that second year, then 74% of that group sticks around, 81% of that group sticks around, 79, and so on. So that was interesting. So then we looked at the spend, right? So the new customer comes in, the following year they decide to come back with us. They increase their spend by 218%. And that was exciting. I was like, all right, we're onto something here. This is going to be good. This is going to prove me right. I love being right. I hate being wrong. And then over time, that starts to stabilize a little bit more too, you know, a big jump that first year. And then it's 114% of the previous year, 103, 115, and 98%. I just got stuck on that retention number. Again, that really just bugged me. Wow. So that's when we lose the most amount of new customers. But other people that stay, that's when they're spending a lot more. So we'll come back to that. There we go. So I'm thinking, okay, so how do I visualize this for the finance team? Let's do a simulation, right? Based on those percentages that we looked at in terms of retention, average sale. These are all based on the percentage growth that we see in these areas, but I started with a baseline of a fake number, so we don't see 10,000 people come in a year, but I just use that for the simplification of this exercise and not to give away data that our CFO probably doesn't want me to give away. So let's say in 2019, we start with 10,000 visitors, and their average sale is $100. So in that start year, that cohort gives us $1 million. Remember, that drops down by over 90%. So the next year, we get 902 of those customers to come back and purchase. Their average sale goes way up, and then we see that broken out over time. So over time, that ends up being $1.7 million from that new cohort. So then I run the simulation with what we're seeing now, a lot less customers. So my volume starts out way lower, right, than 2019. So I only have 6,500 new customers coming through the door. They're spending a lot more, which is great, and they're spending more over time. But I'm at under 1.6. That's such a bummer. I really wanted to be right in the simulation, and I'm not quite there yet, right? We still have a gap of 9% in net revenue. So then you think about, okay, what are some other ways we could close the gap? So we could try to get more people in, increase that new customer cohort. So to close the gap that way, I need to find 650 new purchasing customers. So I don't know about you, but I'm a little nervous hanging my hat on assuming we will get that many new people through the door. I don't know. Going back to pre-COVID, do you remember some of the buzz things that the industry was talking about when we were worried about what was happening in our industry? Cannibalization from cannabis, hard seltzers, millennials. The other thing, too, is and Silicon Valley Bank reported on this several years in a row. They were talking about tasting rooms in Napa and Sonoma County. Their average visitor count each month was going down over time. And what was interesting about that, it wasn't because there was less people coming to Napa and Sonoma. It was because tasting rooms were starting to do the seated tasting model, and people were spending more time at fewer wineries. So that was a few years ago, and a lot more of us have adopted that model. So I sense that might continue to affect that trend, right? People hitting less wineries on their trips.